Well, Daytona in the east, Las Vegas in the west. It's back across the Mississippi to Kentucky Speedway for race 3 of the Florida Estate Builders Pro Series. Welcome to SimTV. Kyle Heyer, Finney Nakuna, and Hunter Sleppy bringing you the action. On Tuesday night, we raced here, and maybe it was just one spice, but tonight with 43 drivers, all 11 herbs and spices for this entertaining 130-lap race from the Colonel's hometown, Sparta, Kentucky Speedway, for race 3 of the season. Finney, welcome aboard. This is a fun one, Kentucky Speedway. We haven't gone here in a very, very long time, but it's going to be back. This race put on a really good show on Tuesday with the truck stuff. Let's see how it does tonight on Thursday with the Pro Series.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's glad to finally see Kentucky. Same thing like you mentioned, just haven't been here in a long time. Of course, Kentucky removed off the official schedule for NASCAR race, so it's been sitting very dormant in real life, but now Area Series brings some action with the Truck Series on Tuesday, now here with the Pro Series on Thursday, Hunter.
Also sitting very dormant, you see in the center of your screen, that's Colonel Sanders. For some reason, they decided to place a statue of Colonel Sanders in the grandstands at Kentucky, and he's been lonely over the last few years, but Area said no need to fear. The Pro Series is here, and the Truck Series was here Tuesday night, although relatively quiet. It went caution-free. Don't think that's going to be the same with the Pro Series, Kyle.
Yeah, it's hot tonight. 83 in the air, 123 on the track. Now, it wasn't that much cooler on Tuesday, but we went green from flag to flag. No major dramas in the evening. It was a pretty standard affair Truck Series race, I'd have to say. But we had a full field with no yellows. And could that happen tonight? Absolutely, Finney. And will it happen? I'm not sure. We're going to step it up in horsepower, step up the challenge tonight with these Pro Series cars. But 650 horsepower or so and less downforce than we had, at least downforce relative to horsepower on Tuesday.
Yeah, and we'll see how these guys are going to cope with that. But first, we got qualifying here coming up. Here we have 46 drivers entering tonight. Of course, it's going to mean 3 open cars are going to be going home without a chance at starting this race. So again, another full field for the Area Series. That's 3 full weeks that we've had over 43 entries.
It's going to be a good one, too, because this is a track that not too many people have been at. I don't think a lot of these guys even knew that they had Kentucky or not, so they might have had to buy it, might have had to get a little practice in, obviously before the official practice session, but we'll see how it is on this 1.5 miles in the middle of Kentucky.
Here's Brandon Bowie kicking things off. He'll be one of the first qualifiers. Let's head out onto the racetrack here. It is a full grid, as Finian mentioned. We'll likely have some drivers go home, especially if we do see Casey Lakatos here. He was another driver that is one of those chartered in that would kick out somebody that is not. 44 cars currently here in the server. With just 8 minutes to lay down your one and only best lap. There is absolutely no margin here. If you make a mistake on your opening lap, Bowie right out to the outside wall. It could end your night before it even starts. Here comes Bowie across the stripe. Richard Thomas, Mason Kane already put laps in. Bowie will go only 5th quick with that big slide out of turn 4.
Yeah, I was going to say the slide might have cost him quite a bit. A fairly slow time, over 2/10 off of John Furness at the moment in that 28 Ford Mustang, who's occupying that top spot. Looking at GT Poole here on the back straightaway in the middle of his qualifying lap.
Poole had one of the fastest cars in the practice session. We'll see if that transitions over to the qualifying effort as you see him rolling through turn 4 and down the front stretch.
Across the stripe, let's see what it is. An average of 167.9 miles an hour. Jumps him up to 3rd on the board. Eric Wineland is also on track here. He comes out of 4.
To see if Eric Wineland can make it in, I believe, didn't make the show last week for the Pro Series. Looking this week to see if he can make it in at 66. He's starting the lap here in the middle of 1 and 2.
Track race is similar to Texas in the repave. They didn't change, well, they did change 1 and 2. They didn't change 3 and 4. This one a lot more wider, but a lot of cars tend to ride the bottom, maybe even the middle. They like to move up on corner exit. See if the 66 of Wineland has enough to make the show.
Big counter steer correction out of turn 4. Across the stripe for Wineland, 168.5 mile an hour average. That's a 31.192. Puts him to 2nd on the board, right behind John Furness, Finian.
I was going to say, it's a very strong time, and I have a good chance of feeling that he's going to be making it on through unless everyone else somehow manages to go faster. So 6-6 looking good. James Scioli, though, just jumping on track, went to the top spot in the number 7, looking at the number 8 of Brad Slaughter, working his way through 1 and 2.
Wineland, pretty excited, was throwing the fist up in the air. He was happy with that. 4th place, it stands. There's still about half the field left to qualify, but a lot of the heavy hitters, Hunter, they've already gone, including James Scioli and Jake Nichols, 1st and 3rd for those two.
Yeah, not bad company to be in for Wineland. As looking at Brad Slaughter, he actually said, I'm not going to be in tonight. Looks like he actually is in tonight, so not sure what changed his mind there.
Good lap,
See
too.
what his lap time is.
4th.
Oh, dethrones Wineland, too. But again, Eric Wineland, not bad group to be in with Hart, Slaughter, Nichols, Furness, and Skyly above him.
It's Chris Rabel in the number 29. He's on a lap. So is Khalil Holmes. Garrett Grant put down a lap, but it did not count, so he must have had an off track or an incident or something. That will negate the 5's qualifying effort. Cameron Hearn is also on a lap, so is Greg Mitchell and Casey Lakatos. He is here, so that makes 45 entrants. 2 are going home.
And they continue to come across the line. There's Chris Rabel, I believe, in the 29 who just came across, and he'll go up to 8th place. A couple other guys coming across. Cameron Hearn will go up to 9th. Greg Mitchell in 10th. Travis Beckner there you see working it through the bottom of 3 and 4. Of course, flattened down in this newer configuration in Kentucky. It's going to come flying out of the corner and across the line.
31-242. 11th place. Khalil Holmes is not going to get a lap, and I don't think Danny Ware will either. All drivers that had an issue on their lap, Hunter, that's usually just tapping the wall, but that will put them in the trouble spot. The 8 is qualified.
Especially when you're doing that. When you're doing that to get up to speed, that could also throw things off, and if you tap it, might want to hit the reset button, or you just, I don't really feel like qualifying. But if you are a go or go homer, you're going to have to minimize those mistakes and be a little more careful as we see the 43 of Bell roll through 1 and 2.
Onto the exit at 2 now, heading down the backstretch. Corner speed on turn in, 182 is the turn 3 entry speed. A little bit off the bottom of the racetrack there, Finney. Didn't get turned down to the yellow line. That was something that we saw happen on Tuesday as well, is if you don't get the car in right up against that yellow line, it kind of falls out of the groove, and you just slide straight up the racetrack. Bell, 31-210, goes 10th quick.
Yeah, I want to keep it nice and tight as much as possible again, and then kind of manage that over the course of the runs. Going to be the big thing for these guys is at the 69.
Yep.
There you go. Sorry, I couldn't see because this crew got very pixelated for a second. Couldn't make the number out. Sean Petchin in the 69 machine comes across the line. Midfield in 16th for him.
Others on course, Connor Urashak in the number 12. And Hunter, everyone's got this guy circled again.
Absolutely. Well, they got Low Dollar Racing circled again. Connor Urashak coming off Las Vegas. Dominated car, but couldn't quite get the job done. Skyly ended up getting that win, but Urashak, he made his mark in the desert, and we'll see how he does on this 1.5 miles. And we said it last week, if he can just continue to run like that on these 1.5 miles, then he'll be just fine.
And across the stripe, 31-124. That's a good lap. Good enough for, should be 3rd. Yes, it is. P3 for the number 12.
Solid run for him. He's been performing very well, performed well last week at Vegas, and will continue the performance here at Kentucky. In qualifying, Alex Weaver in the 62 is looking to come off turn 4, see if he can get up near the top, and across the line for him, 31.391.
Now,
and only up to 30th for him in the 62.
leaves about a half a dozen or so that have yet to qualify. Eugenio Alonso, Alan Elwood, Steve Durham, Tom Bourne, and Justin Munsell all here, but have not yet recorded times. Eugenio Alonso is going to go. Well, we've got a moment with there's not cars on track actively qualifying. Let's have a look here at your playoff picture. Try that again. Richard Thomas, currently the top driver locked in due to his win back at Daytona. James Scioli got it done at Las Vegas. Then Connor Urashak, Jake Nichols, Matthew Bell, the rest of your top 5. JT Poole down in 17th. I'm sure he's got a long way upward to climb as far as his performances are concerned. John Furness is going to start this race up on, I believe, the front row. Right now still 2nd. And then Justin Munsell and David Weishart back there as well. Justin Munsell's one, Finian, I know, is going to climb forward.
Yeah, I was going to say that's going to be the great thing that we're going to see throughout these first few races. Really start to see the playoff picture organize itself. Once you get a few more races under the belt, of course, everyone gets get that bad luck early in the season. You get mired back. So guys like JT Poole, John Furness, we kind of expect they're going to slowly crawl their way up the standings, up inside into that playoff picture, that top 12. Looking at the 86, now Eugenio Alonso finishing his first lap. Can the 86 get himself a solid starting spot? It's going to be the big question as he rockets across the line, 31.324, be around midfield in 25th.
Yeah, he's looking to get a good run going. Finished 20th at Daytona and 39th last week at Las Vegas. So just looking for a solid finish to kind of bounce back as he is sitting currently 33rd in the standings.
Here comes Steve Durham across the stripe. That will be his lap at a 163.8 miles an hour. That's not going to be very good. 40th and last by quite a bit. Tom Bourne, he's coming out of turn 4 on his quick lap. Let's see what the 16 Toyota Supra's got. And it is 165.8, another driver that's be down in the bottom percentage of the field, 38 for the number 16. That's basically it. Everyone else, other than Alan Elwood or Justin Munsell, who didn't attempt to qualify, invalidated their qualifying laps. 41 qualifiers and 5 that did not lay a time down.
Yeah, it actually looks like Elwood and Munsell are not in the servers. That will wrap up everything.
So there's a look at your qualifying order, and it's a mix of Chevrolets, Toyotas, and Fords. We've seen at times this season a lack of representation from either the Fords or the Toyotas, but here pretty well mixed, Hunter, as we look down the listing. But it's going to be at the, I think, not making it. The 30 car will make it in. There are some that will not, though, and we'll make sure we update you as soon as that is calculated for us. As we get set to go racing here. It's going to be the 6, Justin Munsell, it'll be the 14, and the 16 of Tom Bourne. He was not able to qualify in with his lap either. Oh, sorry, the 6 is the Munsell is chartered in.
Okay, there we go.
The 14 and the 16 that will not make it. There's probably one driver that it's the 60. That's what I was looking for.
60.
Joey Chapman.
Okay, yep, that makes sense.
So 130 laps. One of the things that drivers fought all night on Tuesday, Hunter, was the challenging setup, a truck that was really pushy, could not get the thing rotated. Here tonight, we're going to get a mix of that probably, tight at some points throughout the corner, then probably loose elsewhere. So how do you manage that in a racetrack like this where it seems like you can, as I mentioned, fall out of the groove? It might feel ill handling at points, especially when you get some laps on the tires.
Well, I think the big key is on corner exit. I think corner exit's going to be challenging as the run goes on. The tires are going to get more worn down. You're going to want to mash the throttle going down the straightaway, but you want to kind of baby it right before you get to it. Otherwise, you're going to get a lot of rear tire spin. It's going to get you sideways and heading towards the inside wall. And you do not want to do that if you're behind the wheel of one of these cars.
You know, that's the last thing you want really as a driver. And again, it's interesting here because this repave of Kentucky, the reconfiguration of it, I guess is the best way to phrase it. Again, they made it more asymmetrical, so you got more banking 1 and 2, a much flatter track in 3 and 4. And again, that's something these guys got to adjust to a little bit, especially for the drivers that have not been here in a while, because again, this track hasn't really had a whole lot of use since it's been removed off most of the NASCAR schedules now for the last, year or two. So it's something to adjust for. Again, just kind of reset your mind because it's a fairly unique track for some people, especially because I haven't been here in, I think, 3 years is the first time I've seen this new track.
We haven't done I don't think we, other than Tuesday, we hadn't done a race here since, I believe, 2020 with the Indy Elite Series, so it's been quite a couple of years. Race fans, be sure to subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel. As a subscriber, you'll have Area iRacing emotes to use in the chat. You'll also earn double channel points as a subscriber that you can use to redeem for free merchandise, all at the price of just $5 a month. And start your engines with a fresh cup of Roasted Gems coffee. Choose from some of the finest coffee beans from Colombia and Peru, or try the blended flavors of French vanilla and hazelnut. Use discount code Area iRacing for 10% off your order at checkout at roastedgems.com. All right, guys, pick me a favorite before we get to the starting grid. Hunter, I want to know your pick first. There's a handful of really good drivers up front. I guess I'm curious, is your pick from those front 5 or 6 rows?
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go with Jake Nichols and think that he gets it done in his third start. He's going to do it for Dale. Win number 1 and start number 3 for the Pro Series.
Finian, who you got?
I mean, He's starting on pole. Might be the easy pick, but James Scioli really knows how to wheel these Pro Series cars around. So I kind of have to go with him in the number 7 if Hunter's not going to pick him.
All right, well, I'm going to put the guy that probably should have won the race last week. That's Connor Urashak. That starts in 3rd. So all of our picks were in the top 5. So well, first, 3rd, and 4th, actually. So that'll be interesting to watch. Let's get through our starting lineup here, though, and kick things off with that Roasted Gems Coffee starting grid. Here we go. It's James Scioli in the number 7. Finian's pick starts in 1st. John Furness in the number 28 rolls off in 2nd.
Then moving on back to 3rd, Connor Urashak. Kyle, your pick is going to be rolling off in 3rd place. And then Jake Nichols, Hunter's pick, starting in 4th in the 73.
Starting 5th place, it's Brad Slaughter in the number 8 Toyota Supra. Shane Abbey rolls off 6th, the number 84.
Moving on back to Ryan Hart, starting in 7th in the number 3 machine. And then Eric Wine missed out last week, starting strong this week, 8th place for the 66.
And 9th place is Shane Tarian in the number 9. Chris Rabel starts 10th in the Ford Mustang. The number 29 rolls off on the outside of row 5.
Back in 11th is going to be Cameron Hearn in the number 4 machine. Next to him, Matthew Bell in the 43 is going to be rolling off in 12th place.
And 13th place, it's Greg Mitchell in the number 2. Then Travis Beckner, the number 27 Camaro, starts 14th.
Back in row 8, it's going to be the 15 of Alex Bell in 15th place. Next to him, Jeremy Miller in the 30 car in 16th.
Justin Anisogak starts 17th in the number 88. Sean Petchin in 18th in the number 69.
Rounding out your top 20 is going to be Jordan Martin in the 38 in 19th, with David Weishart in the 33 in 20th.
JT Poole starts 26th. We got an onboard cam with him. Ed Robertson 22nd in the number 64.
Moving on back to 23rd, it's going to be Clayton Montgomery in the 45, next to Michael Muhammad in the 77 in 24th.
Eugenio Alonso 25th place in the number 86. Richard Thomas 26th in the number 37.
Moving on back to 27 is going to be Bryce Senezak in the 09, next to him Nico Garcia in the 41 in 28th place.
29th place is Mason Kane in the number 31. Brody Falliker starts 30th in the number 42 car.
Back in 34th is going to be 62 of Alex Weaver, next to him AJ Roderick in the 56 in 32nd.
33rd is Ben Pierce in the number 65 Camaro. Joey Chapman is non-qualifying in that number 60. He is not going to make the grid tonight.
Back at 35th, Brandon Bowie in 23rd. Next to him, Delonte Ballard into the 21 and 36.
37th is Casey Laconis in the number 50. Tom Bourne also a DNQ tonight in 38th.
Back in 39th, Spencer Brown in the 95. Next to him, Bronson Stafford in the 61 and 40th.
And Steve Durham in the number 1 starts 41st. Alan Elwood not going to start the race here tonight either. Justin Munsell will at the tail of the field. Garrett Grant, Denny Ware, Khalil Holmes, the rest of the field here for your Roasted Gems Coffee starting lineup. 130 laps is the race distance. If we go flag to flag like we did on Tuesday, 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 25 seconds. Under the watchful eyes of Colonel Sanders, we're here in Kentucky as we roll out of turn number 4. James Scioli is in command from the last lap last week. He led to the first lap this week. Can he get it down here in Las Vegas, or after Las Vegas, here in Kentucky? Green flag, and we're racing at Kentucky Speedway. Lap 1 complete. Scioli gets it done. Back-to-back laps led across the country. Urashak up to 2nd place. Ryan Hartz was middle 3 wide there for a moment as we sail through 1 and 2. The pace difference between these and the trucks is pretty palpable, Finian. Quick cars around here, these area Pro Series machines.
Yeah, I was going to say that extra grunt really helping these guys really fly around this track. Ryan Hartz, you mentioned he was 3 wide, and actually here's more 3 wide action back there. It's the number 15, Alex Bell in the middle of that. Jeremy Miller to the outside, David Weishart to the inside. Weishart already on the move, up 5 spots as he's still trying to get on by.
Yeah, Weishart and Garrett Grant, they consider these. Oh, whoa! Hard hit for David Weishart. That's going to bring out a caution.
Everybody scatters. I think we avoided more calamity, but just like that, commentator curse of the week, Finian. Slap on the wrist there.
Yeah, right, caught that right when it happened. 33, and this is interesting again with the when we talk about the reconfiguration of this track. You can see the apron come up a little bit on the inside, and it looked like everyone was kind of following on through. I guess the 15 was a little bit more inside than the 33 thought. Up he went into
Yeah, I think he just kind of drifts.
Hard hit.
Yeah, that was a big hit, but I think he just drifts right here. Just a little bit, and I don't know that the 15 moved left. I think it was just the 33 kind of clearing himself up, Hunter. That's what it looks like to me.
Oh, and then the car in front of him slid. Like the 60, is that the 69 of Sean Peachin right there?
Yeah, Sean Peachin in the 69. Did he spin all the way around is the question.
I don't believe he did. I think he slid it sideways, kept it straight.
The 30, the 30's got some major damage there, Finian, as well.
Yeah, I think he got major damage mainly from hitting the door of the 33. I think that's where he got most of it, and I think got hit in behind by the 38. Jordan Martin was where the second collision I'm going to see right there, where he gets hit behind, and then of course the save by 69 pitching up ahead. And so it looks like for the 33 Weiser, you're just kind of following the groove of everyone else coming up, and then again, it's kind of naturally kind of flowed up the track, and Bell was further down than you would have thought to see how the admins would rule on that, but fortunate to see two strong cars injured early on.
Yeah, I was just about to say, David Weishart, Garrett Grant, the kind of friend group they got, they live close to each other, and they kind of consider this as their home track, along with Indianapolis, one of their home tracks, because they live close to the area. So David Weishart was on the move early because he knows how to get it done here in Kentucky, but unfortunately that looks like it's going to come to an abrupt halt only on lap 2.
Yeah, not the way that he wanted this race to start or finish. Caesars Sportsbook number 33. Well, you can close that book. It's not going to get read anymore tonight. James Scioli's got a nice looking Rick's Hot Sauce livery on this car tonight, Finney. That's a pleasant appearance on the 7. Nicely done.
Yeah, I was going to say, this would be, if we were heading to Homestead, Miami, that paint's going to be perfect.
Yeah.
Maybe not exactly for Kentucky. Got more Miami Vice vibes going on, but definitely a very pretty car to look at.
Colorful indeed, and we saw the 12 of Euroshack as soon as we started talking about how nice the 7 car was. 12 was like, remember me?
Yeah.
I was up there last week.
And he's up there this week as well. My pick to win this race. Gained 1 spot on the initial launch. We'll see how the restarts go. This is one of those places, and I mentioned this on Tuesday night, one of those places that got wider in some places, but the line got narrower, kind of like how Texas did. It feels like 3 and 4 are kind of like Texas 1 and 2, where you can fall out of the groove and just slide up the racetrack. Despite there being tons of width, I feel like you got to be right on that bottom groove.
Yeah, I definitely think that's going to be the place to be. It's just going to have, the shortest way around, of course, especially in the flatter corners. I think that's going to be the place to be. I think the outside of 1 and 2 are definitely going to be viable, using that banking to, get a run off the corner. But again, when it gets flatter in 3 and 4, it's going to be a lot harder to make a move there.
We'll see what it's like on this first restart of the night. As I feel like maybe on the later runs, we'll see that outside lane start to get a little bit more momentum. Maybe the bottom starts to slip up a little, but front straightaway is going to be treacherous, Kyle, as we already saw.
Yeah, we didn't get any restarts on Tuesday, so this is kind of uncharted territory, at least for the last 3 years here on SimTV. No restarts at Kentucky. So I wonder how this is going to go. How aggressive will people be?
Well, if they are aggressive, you know what happens to aggressive.
It goes around. If Rick Allen has taught me anything.
Aggressive goes around.
Scioli chooses the outside lane for the restart, lined up with Jake Nichols in the 73. That makes sense. And here they come out of turn 4. This will be lap number 7 of 130. Green flag back in the air. Euroshack lights up the rear tires. In a field of 41, make that 40 with Miller also out, underway.
Yeah, Euroshack trying to get back after a poor restart is going to be trailing that number 7. Actually looking a little calmer than the initial start they have for a lot of these drivers. Just, I think, trying to see if they can get into a rhythm here, fanning out a little bit more here in 3 and 4. I see some drivers trying to luck out and make some moves.
On board with Weiland, trying to look on the outside of Cameron Hearn for the 9th spot in the 4 car.
Carry some speed off into turn 1 on the outside lane. See what this outside's got for grip. Ooh, big wiggle there for Wineland mid-corner. That will allow Hearn to clear him, and Beckner will follow through as well.
And Beckner will indeed get past. Trying to look and see Greg Mitchell trying to make a move on the inside as well, but coming off of turn 4, there's a battle.
Slaughter just touched the wall there, Hunter. Just a little bit, but did get the right rear corner up against that outside wall.
Yeah, carrying a little bit too much speed there, almost disastrous for the Slaughter machine, but nonetheless going to try and secure the position away from Ryan Hart. That's fifth on the track. There's some more side-by-side action towards the back of the field, while starting to get calm up front.
Yeah, Alex Weaver, Ed Robertson, there's 45 to Clayton Montgomery. Nico Garcia also back here as well. And then Richard Thomas into the playoffs due to that win at Daytona. So already locked in here, Finian, but what you can't do is get complacent because you've got that win and not be aggressive, because when it comes playoff time, you have to be on top of your game. So even if it was one of those fluky Daytona wins, you've got an entire season to train yourself on the types of tracks that we're going to see in the playoffs this season. And when you look at the playoffs, Chicagoland and Kansas, 2 1.5 milers. Maybe not exactly like Kentucky, but enough like it that you can learn some things.
Oh, definitely. Actually, speaking of people being aggressive, it looks like he was a little bit too aggressive in the chat. He's had his voice chat disabled by the admins. I think he's getting a little irritated with Michael Muhammad on the track. He just worked around the 77. I think he was complaining about using colorful language to complain about his internet issues.
I did see that happening on the timing screen, so that makes sense. Cameron Hearn in the 4. Slowly going forward on the inside of Shane Abbey in the 84. And Abbey has gone backwards 6th to 9th in the opening laps, and he's got Travis Beckner to the inside, who took that hard left on the exit of the corner. And Eric Wineland's back. He wants to get back in the party here in that number 66, just in tow.
Yeah, I think wondering if we're seeing some guys be a little bit less aggressive, start maybe trying to save their stuff a little bit more in the early goings, keep some tire for later on in the run. So we could see a couple of guys draw back, a couple of guys moving forward, maybe trying to push their tires a little harder. Trying to see, especially if they can make up some track position, but Eric Wine looks like he's ready to go back forward after dropping just a couple of spots after the start.
Treacherous spot there for Wineland to be in, with side-by-side not only in front of him, but behind him as well. As there you see that's Travis Beckner trying to secure the spot away from Ryan Hart's. Not going to be able to do that. Oh, going to get close. Yep, Abbey. Right up in the wall, Shane Abbey.
Yeah, just got up there a little too tight. And that's the one thing we've seen, a little bit of slipping and sliding, but we've also seen, Finian, especially out of turn 4, drivers getting up into the outside wall. So loose and tight, that's not a good combination to have.
No, definitely not. Typically drivers will prefer one or the other, not necessarily both, because then you got to have a lot of control on your input to be very smooth, and you have to try to guess and anticipate what the car is planning to see. A close battle. Greg Mitchell getting close to the outside of Eric Wineland as he tries to rock around the outside and secure that 11th place spot.
Smacked the wall back there. It was one of the low-dollar racing cars. I believe that was JT Poole. And behind the 43 of Bell. Clipped the wall coming out of turn 4.
Let's watch the 26. Very close. I'm not sure that he did clip it, but it was very close. Tight. The right rear suspension. That was an accidental click, but not mad about it.
Yeah, playing with inches. And speaking of inches, for the lead, Gershak inching closer and closer to James Scioli. He's caught up to his bumper. It's just a matter of really where to make a move. Same thing with Jake Nichols. Nichols also catching up from 3rd place.
Like I said, a lot of single file action. These guys have calmed down for the most part, but up front, Euroshak starting to get a little momentum rolling on the bottom, trying to close up that ground between himself and the 7 of Scioli. Meanwhile, Jake Nichols holding on to 3rd from John Furness, who's falling back to 4th.
Yeah, 4-car breakaway, though. It's about 0.6 of a second back to Brad Slaughter Jr. And now that this race is underway, again, we had that initial yellow with David Weishart and Jeremy Miller getting together, but since then, it's been pretty tame, I'd say, other than the colorful language exchanged on the radio. I can see this race going pretty green, and that's what we saw on Tuesday. That's what I'd expect. It tends to be the tracks more than the cars that decide how often you're going to get your yellows, especially with a lot of the driver carryover we have here in area. So see how much that changes things tonight. Shane Terrian back by Cameron Hearn on the bottom. That's for 5th. Brad Slaughter Jr. down 2 spots, going the wrong direction there in 1 and 2.
Yeah, poor entry into 1, not helped by Terrian making that move to the inside. Brad Slaughter out of back out. Cameron Hearn just following his way on through. A little bit further back through the field, there's Alex Bell, who was involved in that first caution. He's battling now with Jordan Martin on the outside, and there's Justin Sogic in the 88 and Alex Weaver in the 62 trying to make their way on by. And Weaver, too, has moved up quite a few spots. Started in 31st, he's already up plus 11, trying to make it plus 12 with a dive to the inside.
Looks like he'll do just that. Maybe he's trying to get one more from Anasoge, but going to back off for now and just take the position.
And getting pretty tight in a few places around the track. Here's Wineland on Abbey again. This is for 10th, just up the road. Big understeer there on the bottom, though. He's not going to be able to hold that down. And Greg Mitchell is going to take this opportunity. Look to the inside quarter panel. Wineland chases him down the road for a moment, but has to leave him space.
And Mitchell catching some air. They're going over. It's really bumpy down on that apron there. And the 2 went, saw the car jump up in the air a little bit as he's traveling on there. But it looks like he's just going to have enough to get ahead of Wineland in 1 and 2, and will secure that spot for 11th place.
Yeah, so what it looks like is we got a battle just up the road. Cameron Hearn and Shane Terrian looking like they're side by side for the 5th spot. It's looking like the outside lane starting to become the more approachable lane for 3 and 4, but 1 and 2 you still want to be planted on that bottom.
So we didn't really see a lot of lane shifting in the Truck Series race, a bit more towards the end than the beginning. But these area Florida State Builders Pro cars carry a lot more speed. They've got more horsepower to compensate. That means you can get more creative with your racing lines. Look at Scioli up the racetrack in 3 and 4. Urashak still bottom feeding. And then Jake Nichols kind of following the 7s line through that last corner. And then Furness just tagging along as the caboose in this party.
Yeah, it looks like Skyler running that middle lane is really doing a solid job, at least covering his exits off of turn 4. And then of course, going into 1 and 2, just keeping it nice and on the bottom. So that line working for the 7. The 12 just kind of riding his coattails, as well as Nichols and Furness. That top 4 breakaway looking pretty strong. And I would say it would be hard to argue anyone that from this top 4 has a solid shot of winning this race. Might even chance of getting the lead there as Juracek tries to look that inside, but again, that exit off of 4 you just can't quite get on the bottom.
Yeah, it's that second lane that's starting to prove better for the corner exit, and that's why we're seeing the 73 and Nichols approach the 12 of Euroshack. It's not going to work as well in 1 and 2, but 3 and 4, you can make that top work and get the run on the corner exit. So they're catching up on a lap car. Is that the 30 of Miller?
Yeah, looks like it. Miller's going to go to the apron. Watch the 12 go to the bottom as Nichols goes to that higher groove. It's going to cost him some speed early in turn in, but on exit he's going to gain a lot here on the 12. And he's going to try to stay to the outside of him, imagine, to build this overlap through 1 and 2. Urashak isn't going to block him. He's going to take him to the wall that time. Whoa. But he didn't swing up ahead of him to avoid him taking that spot. I think he knows the bottom's the better line in 1 and 2 right now. The top's the better one in 3 and 4, though, by the looks of it.
Yeah, this is really how it's starting to look to play out. And that 12, though, got really close to getting hooked by the 73. Just gave him just enough room to put a nose there, but not enough to really try to make any sort of lunge or a move. As Colonel Sanders enjoys the leaders watching flying on by.
Missing the 11 herbs and spices there. He doesn't have a bucket of his own chicken.
Yeah, that seems kind of wrong, doesn't it? I feel like they should have been included in the cast.
While we're talking about Colonel Sanders, I got to mention the best Kentucky Fried Chicken I had was in India. I gotta say.
Really? In India?
In India.
Huh.
It hits different. Let me tell you.
Do you guys get the original, the extra crispy, or the spicy?
It's like, yeah, I remember I got like chicken tenders, but they had like Indian masala on the inside. It tastes so good.
But of the American KFC, extra, like what's your standard breading scenario?
Oh yeah, it's been a while since I've been to KFC. In fact, I think the last time I got KFC was with you a couple years ago.
Oh man, really? I don't think I've gotten KFC in a long time, probably over a year. But I'm an extra crispy guy for sure. You want that crunch.
I was gonna say if I were to pick something, I would definitely go for the extra crispy here. Garrett Grant looking like he can go for another position, trying to go on the outside. Will pass the 38. That's Jordan Martin, who's dropping behind a little bit in behind him. Again, now getting passed by the 42, Brody Folliker in 28th.
Garrett Grant is a man who prefers Zaxby's over KFC, as unfortunate as it may sound, but nonetheless, still trying to work his way up all the way back from 41st up to 27th, so some solid ground made up for the 5 of Grant, but wants to take it up a notch as car looking down low. I think behind him, that was Bowie in the purple car?
Yes.
Was all like super low.
Whoa, big slide there in 3 and 4 as well. I was going to make the point that maybe deeper in the field you can make some progress, but it does seem like the front runners have kind of stalled out. They don't really have the ability to make passes at the moment. I think Jake Nichols was quicker than Urashak, but he hasn't been able to dispatch him. This might be one of those races that's heavily track position influence, but if we get into those green flag cycles like we saw on Tuesday, Finian, if you're the leader and you can afford to pit a little later, you're just going to lock everybody in an inferior strategy. That is such a powerful place to be, the leader and the ability to overcut on a track that's hard to pass. That's the move to make.
Oh, definitely. I think we're going to see Scally manage his tires as much as he can. Again, he's done phenomenally well last season, dominating this series, so he definitely knows how to handle these cars at all different types of tracks. So sure, he's trying to manage that pace as much as possible. Let the 12, let the 73, let the 28 get close as possible. Just make sure they don't get past the 69 of Pechin under attack here. He's got Alex Bell knocking on his doors.
Down the front straightaway, Alex Bell on the bottom. Richard Thomas jumps up to the outside to help give Pechin a push. Clayton Montgomery, 23rd to 21st. This is that slow progress I was talking about, but pinch that 15 down and take a big run to the outside, Hunter.
Yeah, Bell had a moment there in the middle of 1 and 2. The little pinching motion going on. As there you see the 37 of Richard Thomas says, I said with my mic off, he won at Daytona, so he can race the rest of the season with these until the playoffs start, but solid run showing so far. Him and Clayton Montgomery, though, almost touching there as they're rolling into turn 1.
Ooh, that 64 almost, Ed Robertson, he almost scraped the wall on the entrance to the corner, and Finian, you know as well as I do, get that quarter panel up on that outside wall on turn-in, and you just will not be able to turn into the corner. It just hogs all your turn-in capability.
Yeah, it's good. It really ruins a lot of things for you. Looking back up at the leaders, want to take a little bit look further back. The 84 is trying to drop some positions. Eric Wineland getting to the outside of Shane Abbey off of turn 4.
Yep, there we go.
Look there, and Greg Mitchell just got past 84 as well. So I think we're starting to see a little bit more ebb and flow now. I think some drivers that may have burned up their stuff, they might start to be going backwards here in a little bit.
Yeah, 11th and 12th on the track. We're on board with 12th position. That is where Eric Wineland resides in for now, as Abbey looking to close in on that top 10 held by Greg Mitchell, but here comes a strong run off turn 4 for Wineland. Not sure if he's going to be able to do anything, though. Takes it to the outside. Going to make it interesting as right in front of them, Slaughter and Mitchell side by side for 9th and in turn 1.
And have a look at the best versus previous lap. That is 8 miles an hour different, effectively, between his best lap and his last lap. That translates to almost 2 seconds. So there's tons of fall off here, like we saw on Tuesday. The abrasion here is pretty high, and that's going to allow you to pull that overcut strategy and really find advantage in a long run. Abbey and Wineland nose to tail very tight.
Yeah, Wineland pretty much having to slam on the brakes coming off the corner. It's going to allow Matthew Bell to try to catch back up in the 43 machine, and then you got Chris Brable now knocking on the doors, looking to the inside of the 43, trying to make his move, battling for 13th.
Damage on the back of the 43 as well, Hunter.
Indeed, a little bit of damage to the bumper of Bell, but nonetheless, it's not holding him back. Still running on the coattails of eclipsing that top 10 mark, but Rabel to the inside, not making that any easier for the 43.
Wiping the sweat off the brow there. He's getting frustrated, stuck in line, as Wineland was saying that he was really struggling with the tightness of that car. There's the 8 on the outside. The 84 has to lift, and then throttles right back up.
Starting to see more and more drivers struggle with the tires. Then you start to see more of that wear kick, and again, how dramatic the wear is. Almost 2 seconds off of what these guys are doing earlier, and then now if you've been pushing earlier on, we're now approaching almost 40 laps into this race. So these guys have had their tires worn out quite a bit. I'm sure they can't wait to come down to pit lane.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see when pit stops are made, whether they're under green or under yellow. But the way they're racing around this part of the track, it might be under caution because Weiland's looking low on the 84 of Shane Abbey, and he's had a handful over the last couple of laps or so in the body armor number 84, which, by the way, I hope everyone did their part. I went ahead and bought some body armor the day after Brian Blaney won the Cup Series Championship.
Might as well. Support your NASCAR sponsors. Off into one. Matthew Bell trying to track Wineland down now. Just seems like one of those scenarios where if you don't make it past, you're going to get past. Big slide there by the 66 off of turn 2. And by big slide, I mean, it's still understeering, but it's sliding because you've got so much wheel in it that you've got to uncrank it at some point. When you do, that's when the car kind of washes on you. There is all sorts of action going on next to Richard Thomas, Alex Bell, Sean Petchin. This trio's been pretty wild.
Yeah, they're trying to battle for position. I also want to give an update on the 42 of Brody Folliker. He's fallen all the way back to 40th after a couple laps ago had some contact with Delonte Ballard when flying through the infield grass on the front straightaway. Almost brought out a caution, but he's back and way off the page. He can't wait for a yellow to try to get back into the middle of things.
Ooh. Moment right here, as Kyle mentioned earlier, with Richard Thomas. Looks like that is pitching in the 69. That might have had a moment, and the drivers in front of him went by, and he's actually coming down the pit road.
And Brad Slaughter Jr. is as well. Brad Slaughter sliding. He might have sped there, Finian. And the 65's
Whoa,
around.
Behind him.
Ben Pierce.
He will save it.
Mason Kane might have sped on the pit road, too. He was also sideways, locking up the brakes.
Oh, yeah, I got some black flags for Mason Kane and Brad Slaughter.
Oh, man. That is going to be a catastrophic blow tonight. We documented on Tuesday James Scioli's climb from dead last up to 4th in the closing laps of the race. It took him the entire race to get there as John Furness hits pit lane. If you have any setbacks tonight with how green it's probably going to go, it's going to be basically game over for a decent run for you.
Yeah, I was going to say, and again, 2 strong cars, at least both Brad Slaughter there today. It's going to put him back quite a bit. Definitely not what he needed for tonight. And your Cameron Hurd calling in that he's going to pit in. So number 4 car is going to be coming in for the lead. Still nothing from the top 4 other than John Furness.
Never hurts to play it safe here. I'd rather lose 2 to 3 seconds on track.
Spin, turn 4, another car around. Oh. Almost turned around was, I think, that was
Matthew
the
Bell.
62. It was the red car of Alex Weaver, and he got kind of turned. He's going to lock up his tires and slide through his box as well. But he was coming out of 4, and I think got turned into or got run over from behind. Maybe it was Anna Sogak. Watch this. No, yeah, it was these two. Rabel and the 62 got together.
Oh, and actually, and with that, the 41 and Nico Garcia also caught a piece of the wall. So that was a very messy entrance for pit lane for quite a few drivers, and somehow a caution did not fly.
4 cars on pit lane. Busy racetrack, busy pit road. This is a big field tonight. Still 40 cars, 41 cars running, all but David Weishart.
Busy in front of the Colonel, too.
Yeah, I was going to he's been getting to a lot of action on that pit road entry, and I think we're far from done. We've still got quite a few drivers yet to make their stop. And I got to say, for the lead, you can see a big gap is separated now. James Scully really catching his stride in the later part of the run. I think Yurashak, you can tell he was pushing hard earlier on. It's not helping at the moment. I'm kind of surprised he doesn't just want to come in maybe the number 12 and try to change it up, because it looks like he's definitely going to be losing out the more he stays out on this set of tires in particular.
I think he's just waiting until the 7 of Skyley comes down and pits, and then maybe he'll pit the same lap or maybe next lap. Or maybe even this lap. He's looking a little low coming through 4.
Yeah, I don't know if I love this, only because you're going to give the 7 an advantage and he's not going to give it up. So this is one of those scenarios where I would like to overcut rather than undercut, because you're just, without the chance for a yellow, knowing that this race is likely going to go green for a lot longer. Well, maybe not, as we watch 3 wide. You're going to pin yourself into an inferior tire strategy. So I don't know how much I love that. But especially if you watch the race on Tuesday, you know that once the leader gets that advantage and the better tires, he's gone. But that assumes a green race, Finian.
Yeah, I was going to say, we'll see how it plays out. I think for him, it was probably important to try to see if he can force Sky Ellie's hand, maybe come down the pit lane. Indeed, the 7 will answer the call. He will come on down. The number 73 of Jake Nichols, I believe he already has come down to pit lane. Indeed, he has already made his stop, so he's out and away in behind the number 12. Sky Ellie coming in for his stop.
All about hitting your marks on pit road. It's entry and then speed down the lane, and then don't want to overslide your pit stall because we've seen a couple of drivers do that, but 7 makes it perfect, and getting those 4 fresh Goodyears on, and we'll see him come out with the lead still, presumably.
He might lose it in the very short term, but there he rolls. Where is the 12? That's the next question.
Well, he's door-to-door with Cameron Ahern and trying to split Eric Wine. They were off a turn 2.
Whoa.
3, 4 wide for a second. His car's coming out of the apron, and here comes the 12 to the inside of the 7, splitting him 3 wide, trying to take the lead away.
This is going to get wild.
That's
3 wide, but the 7 in the middle, the 12 on the bottom trying to steal what would cycle to be the lead away.
Gosh, then this is all happening in front of Jake Nichols, too. Jake Nichols is seeing this. He's got to be thinking, what on earth are they doing?
Important pass for the 12 to make, though. If he can complete it, maybe have the 7 burn up some tires for a bit, he'd be in a pretty good spot, and he does.
Hustles on by. Again, I can't imagine that he's probably saving a lot of tire doing that, so he's pushed a little bit hard. Now the question is, can he keep this number 7 at bay at least until the tires start to wear out? Because right now, he still has a very big chance of getting passed back by the 7, who's right on his bumper and with some fresher tires.
Could be a good rivalry for the rest of the mile-and-a-half tracks on the schedule, or maybe even for the Pro Series season itself. No one really took it to Sky Ellie a season ago. It looks like the 12 with Euroshack already in race 3 is doing that twice, but 7's still looking for the lead heading into turn 3.
Sky Ellie's all over him here. Has a lot better tires. It's not a significant amount, but it might just be enough. Can the 12 throw the block? He can't. Here comes Sky Ellie for what, again, will cycle to be the lead. There's still about a dozen cars that have yet to hit pit lane. And then John Furness is up the road with an earlier stop.
Euroshack trying to see if he can at least stay to the outside coming off the corner, but he can't quite hold on. The number 7 will slide his way on pass on the back straightaway and will retake the lead away.
I guess for Euroshack, Hunter, that slight overcut was actually, or undercut rather, was actually pretty successful, but now he's just got to try to cling to the 7, which he wasn't able to do before on equal tires.
On the longer run, the 12 start to slowly fade away from the 7, and again, only a lap difference in tires for the 7 and the 12, but we'll slowly see that 7 start to separate himself from the 12 of Euroshack again.
But still yet to pit, Eric Wineland, Justin Adesogak, Alex Bell, Michael Muhammad, and many, many more. Top 9 still have yet to hit pit road. And here comes Wineland, I think, trying to do a massive overcut. I don't hate it. Still gonna have to pit at least twice more, though.
Yeah, I think he's trying to see how long he can push him. Maybe hope for a caution to come out, especially with how we saw how things are, how chaotic things were with the drivers on fresher tires, drivers on the older tires, but no caution to come. So we decided to come on down. There is Sky Ellie rocketing around another car. So doesn't retaking the lead. Is still only technically in 10th place. There's John Furness, one of the first of the top 4 that we saw to come on down. So he will essentially cycle out to be the leader once this all sorts out.
A little interesting call there as we look at the 28 of Furness, and we've said it time and time again, he's been so close to recapturing victory in the Pro Series, but I feel like this year might be the year, and this track could be the track where the 28 does that.
Yeah, I mean, he's been in contention a lot. I think the road races in particular, he's got a good shot as well, but he's also got to beat Sky Ellie there. And we only go road racing once this season at the Charlotte Roval of all places, which probably isn't what plays to John Furness's strengths. I would think a track like Mid-Ohio or Sonoma is really where that 28 would excel. So took away a couple of the places that he had advantages on. He was also pretty decent at the short tracks. We do have a handful of those. IRP, Richmond on there as well. You could Bristol, of course, and you could probably count Iowa there. So there's enough on the schedule that I do think John's got a shot, but I think Sky Ellie, the 12, and of course that 73 of Jake Nichols are still your championship favorites, just based on pace in these mile-and-a-half races that comprise the majority of the schedule.
I'm really curious to see if how much John Furness is able to keep this lead over Scioli. Of course, he's catching up, but again, if they really start to have some more fall-off, and they're starting to get closer to that point, will the 7 not be able to get past? So if anything, the big undercut might potentially be the move to make, and have to see really how this all plays out. But so far, so good for the 28 car.
Yeah, up until you see the 7 start to get a little bit closer in that rear view mirror, him and the 12. I mean, if this plays, it could play out in the 28's favor if we go green from here to the finish, but it all depends on if and not when. So we'll ride on board here with the 7 as he looks to continue to close that gap between himself and John Furness.
Amazing how fast the times and speeds drop off. It's really abrasive surface. There's a lot of tire wear tonight, and you have to imagine tire temperature is climbing as well, so managing tires is going to be a big portion of this from a speed perspective. We saw last season, Finian, how Scioli was able to do that. How many races did Scioli win last season? At least 7, right? So he's already looking to pick up his 2nd on the year.
And I can give you a definite number for
11.
11, there you go. I knew it was in the double digits. I wasn't sure it was 10 or 11. Yeah, he really did dominate this series last year, which is why I picked him to win. And looking at Conor Yurishak, so apparently hearing that he is shifting in turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, we'll ride on board and see that, Hunter. But we saw that on Tuesday as well. Drivers reaching into the toolbox to find anything that they can find for any advantage.
Yeah, it looked like he tried that last time. Not sure if he heard it this time around.
No, not this time.
Yeah, I think he was just experimenting. But I mean, hey, it's worth a shot, right? At least to give it an attempt. Maybe it worked, maybe it didn't. Feels like it didn't really work, so he's gone back to just keeping it in 4th.
Woo, look out. John Furness tried to turn in there, Hunter, and almost got clipped by the 12.
Yeah, almost ended badly for both Furness and Yurishak, but nonetheless, Yurishak completes the pass on Furness, and I was just going to say, half-second quicker that last time by. The 7 and the 12 were from the 28 of Furness. So even though it's a few laps difference, as I'm looking here, about 4 to 5 lap difference between the two. A second a lap or half second a lap, that is a huge difference whenever it's on these longer runs.
Yeah, 13 laps for Scioli in his stint, 18 for Furness. That will make a difference over the course of the night. Closing in on halfway, that'll be lap 65. We're about 7 laps from that. Only 1 yellow so far, and it was on the tail end of the opening lap. Finney and I presume, like we've seen in the past, this race will go green for a lot longer. So now you can kind of adjust your strategy. There are places where we know that you're going to get a bunch of yellows, like we saw on Monday at Phoenix. You know that place is going to get a bunch of yellows, so you can't really plan a strategy around when to pit under green. But now you can kind of look at the math and say, all right, when's the optimal time to hit pit lane in my situation, and kind of run this race in reverse.
Yeah, that's what a lot of these drivers are going to be looking at, especially because once you really get past that first green flag pit stop, they have a really good chance of making it green till the end. Especially considering how spaced out everyone is on the racetrack, except in that particular occasion, as a lap car was working around Conor Yurishak. That is Justin Sogak in the 88. Whoa!
Holy cow!
Netcode doing all sorts of favors to both of them.
That was
yeah,
as close as you're going to get, I think. Watch this. I mean, that is, oh, man.
What did DW say? Could put a piece of paper between the two.
I think he would have torn a piece of paper. I don't think they touched, but it was very, very tight.
Whoa, look in the back. Furness and Jake Nichols. Furness not going down without a fight, holding on to that podium spot from the 73 of Jake Nichols. Got close there on corner exit, but for now, the 28 stays in front of the 73.
Eric Wineland, remember, he was a pretty late pitter, so he's going to have much better tires than those he's around, but he's buried in 23rd. Finney, this might be the overcut strategy a bit too far, because now he's really deep in the field and has to make up a lot of time, and the tires burn off pretty quick.
Yeah, I was going to say there's an optimum window to pit. Yes, the overcut's good, but you don't want to overstretch it. And especially because we already talked about this track, it's going to be hard to pass. So, you can really make those moves once the tires are fresh. Once they start to wear out a little bit more, it's going to be a little bit harder to make some moves. as he's still trying to work through. He's up to 22nd, trying to see if he can get 21st from the 38. Jordan Martin will easily dispatch of the 38.
Gosh, he got it so close there through 1 and 2, and right behind him, might have tapped the wall back there. Looked like that was Delonte Ballard, and might have clipped a piece of that wall.
Yeah, very close. Don Furness still holding back Jake Nichols. This is actually pretty impressive for Furness. He's deep in the run.
Yeah, I was going to say, might have a harder time this time. The 73, great run off of turn 4 this time. And the 28 is going to back off on the straightaway and let the 73 on by and give up the fight.
A fun little battle there for Nichols and Furness, but now the 73 takes over that podium spot. Furness falls back to 4th, and then about 3 seconds behind him, you'll find the 4 of Cameron Hearn hold on to that 5th spot.
So I mentioned earlier the strategy for Scioli, having the advantage and having the overcut gets you, a pretty sizable lead. What can Connor Urashak or Jake Nichols do now to upset this strategy? Because taking the swing at James Scioli on a big undercut isn't going to gain you anything now, because you might get the lead for a lap or two and then get him immediately past. So how do you undig this hole at this point in the race at halfway?
I mean, it's kind of just hope for the best. I think hope that maybe the 7 catches some trouble, maybe tries to burn up his stuff a little bit too far. But the issue is I feel like he probably is not under a whole lot of pressure, because he knows he's got the tire advantage at the moment. He knows he's got a little bit of a gap to work with. I guess your really only hope is just hoping a caution comes out to kind of restack everything back up. Either that, or maybe try to go a little bit longer on the second stint, try to overcut the 7, but that's going to be kind of hard to do.
I would have already at this point, with the 7 passing, if I'm the 12 of Urashak and he flew by me, I would have already attempted at saving fuel. Try to stay out, and by a good margin, like maybe 5 laps or so, try to stay out and try to overcut that. Oh, is it overcut?
Yeah.
Or undercut? No, it's overcut.
You got it right.
That was right. Yeah. So I would have already tried saving fuel, try to overcut that way, seeming like this race could go green to the finish, and then try to beat him that way.
Yeah, I was going to say that I don't think he even needs to save fuel, because we saw Wineland go much, much longer. But I guess you're right in that Scioli won't pit until Urashak does. So if you can't outlast him, he will just pit with you instead of you overcutting him. So, yeah, I think there's enough laps left, and they have to make that 3rd pit stop, that I actually think that's a pretty good strategy. But you can't lose that much more. You have to be within striking distance. Otherwise, you're just going to get buried in traffic like Wineland did and spend too much of your time moving forward. So there's only so much advantage you can build with that method over the guy that's already ahead of you. Car in the wall there. Was that Jake Nichols? Or no, it was Miller, you're right. Similar looking Supras.
Yeah, 18 laps down. I was just about to talk about Miller. He's 18 laps down in 39th. He's just running out there just trying to make up points after the car got finally repaired. He can only really pass one driver, and that's AJ Roderick ahead of him in 38th. But, I mean, hey, every point counts.
There is the 4 of Hearn, and making that outside lane a little bit feasible, as the 9 of Tyrion going down and taking over that 5th spot. Finished 2nd at Daytona and 15th last week at Las Vegas. So strong showing here for the 9 cars. We've crossed halfway in this race, Kyle.
Look at the distance he put on the 4 leaving turn 2. And that is the advantage that he's got. It's 5 laps difference in tires. That's what that looks like about 25 laps into a run. And right back, these 3, man, they have not left each other alone. Richard Thomas is just back there as well, but Bell, Petchin, Ballard.
Yeah, great scrap for 21st going on between these 2. Bell trying to make up some ground after being involved in that accident earlier. He can set him back a little bit. He started up in 15th, dropped back a couple spots. Going to work up through the order. He's one of the later drivers to pit, so he's got a bit of tire advantage to work with. And actually, speaking of tire advantage, talking about Eric Wineland, he's up to 19th so far, so he's continuing his march up the order. Is still not close to where he was, but got quite a few cars up the road that he can get past.
I mean, it doesn't hurt to do what Wineland did, unless it ends up like this, in which you're still trying to fight and claw your way out of where you were initially at on the racetrack. But like I say, he was a go-or-go homer, so he's just running there to log laps and hopefully get a good finish. I mean, it doesn't hurt to switch it up, and especially if you're like around the top 15 or so on the cusp of there. It's like, all right, what can I do to try and navigate around the competitors in front of me? And it seemed like he tried a strategy, didn't quite work out. We'll see what he has up his sleeve on the next set of pit stops.
Yeah, you see the last lap for everyone on this timing and scoring screen, and he was in the 32.9s, now at 33 flats. His biggest problem is that he doesn't have that much of an advantage over anybody anymore. Maybe a half a tenth to a tenth, but that advantage is quickly going to dry up. It's also a good perspective to see Scioli versus Euroshak. It's about a tenth a lap that Scioli is finding time on those behind him. And everyone else is pretty much stuck at that 33 flat to 33.1 while Scioli's in the 32.9s. Here comes Wineland now kind of inverting this to go undercut and locks up the tires. Did he speed?
He
I
did.
believe he did.
Black
Yep.
flag.
There's the shaking of the head.
Yep. And it's a shame because I was curious to see how this was going to play out for him, running a very unorthodox strategy, but that time penalty is going to really kill him. But we've seen quite a few drivers really struggle to get off the corner, get off turn 4, and then woe it way down. The car's just too unbalanced, and a lot of times everyone gives a little bit too fast. The third speeding penalty that we've seen so far.
Euroshak's been getting close to that turn 2 wall and corner exit over the last couple of laps I've seen out of him.
Yeah, he made a big mistake last lap, dropped 3/10. That was not a very good lap for Euroshak. So Wineland will start the procedure. The cars onto pit lane, penalty or otherwise. Brent Pierce came onto pit lane, so did Ed Robertson. We're within the pit window to make it to the end of the race from here. About 30 minutes of racing remaining. Still on a good pace for this race with just one yellow underway so far, but this is the money stop now. When do you pit? It's all going to come down to the math that you made and however much advantage you need to find either on the front end or the back end of the run. Are we surprised that, sorry Finian, are we surprised that JT Poole's only running 14th right now?
I think just hasn't. I think if he had more caution, might have given him some chance to move up the order a little bit. Again, is pit on the, I would say, in the later half of the green flag pit stop, so he's not going to move up one more spot.
Oh, that was cool to see. Saw the 84 of Shane Abbey get loose on the inside, and he really throws his fist up. Yeah, that's another spot. Let's go. Up from 14th to 13th on the track.
So he is moving forward, this number 26. So he just had a slow and steady pace as he's going to now try to lead the 84 in his dust.
I want to also point out the top 10. 4 Chevys, 3 Toyotas, 3 Fords. About as even as a split as you can get mathematically. JT on the outside, just trying to carry speed.
Yeah, we don't have too many Ford Mustangs, but the lowest running one is in 16. So overall, the Blue was having a pretty solid day.
Got a little train going on right there with Shane Abbey, Chris Rabel. Got the 5 at Grant that's closed in behind him.
It sure is. Number 5 Ford
He's got to run.
And he's coming. You're right, Finian.
Great run off the corner. Looked like he might want to make it 3 wide. Not enough car to really make that move, so he'll have to wait on that, see which lane's going to go. That 84 looks he's dropping back. As I say that, though, he gets a great run off of turn 4, and I imagine the 5 is going to go to the outside of Rabel to carry that momentum, indeed he will.
Yeah, Garrett Grant, big supporter of Ben Rhodes, the Lowell native, as him and Weishart like to pronounce it. Winner of the Truck Series Championship, takes big pride in not only his hometown driver winning the championship, but also running good in his state of Kentucky and at this track as he's looking to close in on the 15th spot.
Also, just while we're looking at the nose of this car, I find it amazing that this level of car, this body, was introduced in 2010, full-time in 2011, and 15 years later almost, we're still running this body style, and it has aged very well.
Has aged really well. I mean, I honestly prefer this car, these cars to the next-gen cars. So,
I do as well.
You know, if it ain't broken, don't fix it, right?
Exactly.
Do you know the first race that they ran with this in real life, like this body of car?
July Daytona 2010.
Yeah, the summer one, yep.
I remember.
Who won the first race of that?
Dale Jr., right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, you already know. The goat himself.
I just remember also because at the time, as a Kyle Busch fan, he ran that NOS Citrus car. It was like green and yellow, and it was just a really nice livery. And he also ran like a NOS Cherry something or other that was like a maroon and yellow. Really cool paint schemes on that car, which looked like it was from the future at that time. And then the Gen 6 came out, and I thought those were the coolest cars ever. When I saw the next gen, it didn't have the same effect on me that the Gen 6 did from the previous. Ooh, there's a little drama back there. Mike Montgomery.
Yeah. Almost a little bit of a hip check here off turn 4. We've seen a lot of guys get tight off this corner again with it being so flat. Everyone kind of runs up the corner right up against the wall, and ooh, we actually got a little loose there on the outside. A great save there to keep off the one of Steve Durham.
Yeah, it could have been real bad there for Montgomery and Durham, and could have gone a caution. But yeah, to your point, Kyle, the next gen, I kind of agree with that. It feels wider. Like you look at the Gen 6 and then you look at the Gen 7, and it's like, oh, well, what happened to you?
It feels wider, but like it still has a tall nose, so it just kind of looks like a shoe that got stepped on. You know, like it just looks kind of flat, like a pancake. Steve Durham's on the apron. Whoa! This is getting wild here.
This is getting wild. I think if we were to look for a caution potential, it might be between these two.
I think everyone would love a yellow get a nice reset. You know, there is a number of yellows that makes a race intriguing from a strategy perspective.
Oh my gosh.
And
next gen, Gen 6, Gen 5, Gen 1, don't matter. Steve Durham's going to put everything he's got in that one.
That seems to be the case. I wanted to also point out, I put the camera on him a moment ago, as I still don't think we're done watching this drama unfold just yet. The 23 of Brandon Bowie up from 34th to 11th. Very, very solid climb, as with Garrett Grant. In a similar way to what we saw Scioli do on Tuesday, just quietly plugging away, moving through the order.
Yeah, and that's fantastic going forward. You can only imagine, you know, had we had a few cautions to help him up, he might have gained a few more spots. Still look at a lot of guys. I think the 84 really off the pace on his tires. I think he cannot wait to make his stop.
I wanted to say hi to Colonel Sanders there.
Ooh, that was actually a pretty decent hit too. Brandon Bowie still chasing Alex Weaver. That's for 10th. And we're pretty quickly closing in on when I'd expect to see the rest of the field make their last stop. Probably in the next 3 to 5 laps, I think we'll see the majority of the field hit pit lane.
In the same vein as Brandon Bowie, Garrett Grant has also moved up a ton of spots. Starting 41st, he's up to 13th. So
takes pride in being from this state and running well at this track, and putting that to good use right now is, like you mentioned, up to 13th, still knocking on the door for that top 10.
Still exciting back here with Durham.
Yeah, I'm looking at Durham drive, and I just feel bad for his right rear. He's got that back end hanging out there, slamming the throttle down. So that right rear, I gotta imagine it's going to be worn out at some point, but keeping it going nonetheless.
27 lap old tires, by the way.
The one of Steve Durham coming down started to go off.
Nope.
JT, one of the most interesting drivers to watch on camera. He's got the most expression of anybody.
And JT is coming down to pit lane as well. Up, and he just said, never mind.
Yeah, no way. No way. That was not going to happen. Here comes Eric Weiland on the outside.
Well, you know why he's not doing too hot right now? There's no Chick-fil-A milkshake. We were looking at him last week. He was running inside the top 5.
Oh, right.
Yep, there's no Chick-fil-A milkshake today.
That definitely makes sense, because, man, Chick-fil-A makes a good milkshake.
I don't think I've ever... Oh, I have had... No, I haven't. I had an In-N-Out milkshake. I don't think I've ever had a Chick-fil-A milkshake.
It's really good.
Are they as good as
the dense?
Are they as good as the Five Guys ones?
I would say better than the Five Guys ones.
Really?
Yeah.
Give me a Chick-fil-A milkshake. Garrett Grant on pit lane and into one of the first boxes on pit lane.
And GT Pool happy he made it to pit lane. He once he got in, he's like, I made it.
That time he did, and it should be the last time tonight that he'll have to go to pit lane. John Furness and Tarian, yep.
John Furness battling for 4th place, and Tarian will break the monotony of the top 4 for the first time tonight. The same 4 drivers since dropped the green flag. Furness drops back. I think Furness is really regretting his decision to come down early, but I mean, it was worth a shot for the 28. And actually, as Shane Tarian just made the pass, he's announced he's coming down to pit lane.
Yeah, didn't work. Didn't go too bad for the 28 of Furness, as him and Tyrion are going down pit road. Only lost a few spots down to 5th. Oh! slowing it down. I think both those guys got in just fine, as did the 4 of Cameron Hearn.
Matthew Bell as well, bouncing on the apron there. A little bit of a lockup. Big slide for Clayton Montgomery as well. Closing in on 40 laps to go. And last pit stop still for the top dozen or so.
A battle brewing for second place. Jake Nichols is caught up to the back of Connor Urashak, and a battle is brewing here as pit stops are beginning to occur for the final time tonight. Jake Nichols trying to find some sort of way around Urashak here, and I think he should have relatively quick work as 12's really struggling off the corner.
Big moment there as Jake Nichols closing in on the 12 of Urashak, going to go to the outside. We might see the 12 come in this time.
Yep.
Indeed. Nope. Yep. Indeed, there he is.
Oh, that's an aggressive entry.
Whoa.
Wow.
Oh, Finian, does he get on pit road entry?
Yeah, he's good. He made it. These guys are cutting it close, though.
Can anybody catch James Scioli? I mean, he is just dominant tonight. He has led 77 of the 91 laps and shows no signs of slowing down here.
So really, I think he's going to need
he is now.
Well, all right. Got me.
Oh, Jake Nichols also coming in.
Is that Bronson Stafford?
Nichols coming in, sliding.
Oh my gosh, he might have been speeding.
Oh boy, that was pretty quick, Finian.
Yeah, Colonel Sanders really does have the best seat now. So we're putting on a show for the Colonel. Drifting down into pit lane.
It's like they're all-star race qualifying every single time coming out of turn 4.
Do you think they're getting nervous because they're going past Colonel Sanders?
Maybe. A little stage fright. Shrinkage, but with a brake pedal. Alex Bell leads the way now as the field cycles through the last
there's
pit
a
stop.
big angle of cars coming off of turn in 3 and 4. GT Pool in the middle of this, 3 wide. There they are.
Yeah, I'm trying to pick up where they're at.
They're giving the Colonel a little show going down the front stretch and then turn 1.
Well, Finian almost said 2, so I went to go to 2 first. And then I went to 4 because I panicked and I forgot I moved the camera to look at Colonel Sanders. So the camera wasn't doing what I wanted the camera to do, which is my own fault. But look at the 26 down the inside. That's tight.
3 deep.
They're catching up on the slower Alex Bell, who's currently in the lead, so they're going to have to split him probably 3 wide almost, or just work around him. There he is. There's the purple car on the inside.
JT, look at him wrestling that car. Three drivers left to pit for their second time. I think Brody Falliker make that 4.
Whoa, Travis Beckner's threw it there into turn 4 and got a little bit loose on the exit. Here comes 62 Alex Weaver. Another big mover, as well as the Garrett Grant in the 5. He's going to stick him behind the 27. Almost had a chance to make it 3 wide there.
I'll say, please don't make it 3 wide. That would have made everything a little more chaotic there for the rest of the people who have yet to pit. I believe one of them just did. Brody Falliker in the 42 pitted, and Bell, Martin, Michael Muhammad still have yet to pit. Jordan Martin, 52 laps on a tank of fuel.
Stretching it out. Just 35 laps to go. And James Scioli leads over Urashak by 2.3 seconds as it stands. They still have 3 more cars to pass before they're fully cycle complete. And then all Connor Urashak is going to want is a yellow flag in the last 30 or so laps. Will he get one? That has yet to be seen, but math tells me no.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's got to really just write a Christmas card to Santa early, I think. And hope for the best, hope for an early Christmas present. That would be yellow in case someone's arm is itchy, but at the moment you get only 1 caution so far, so there's definitely not something you can count on that yellow coming out.
Indeed, as you see on the race analyst here, only 1 yellow, and that was on lap 2. David Weishart and Jeremy Miller involved in that. But since then, Kyle, it's been clean and green as they're closing in with 30 to go.
Yeah, just like on Tuesday, that went flag to flag green. Gordon Martin's the last holdout, but James Scioli just passed him, so Scioli will retake the lead with just about 33 laps to go. 3 wide in the backstretch, though. The 37 of Richard Thomas trying to find a way by Eugenio Alonso and Bryce Senesac, was denied both.
And
3 wide behind them.
Moment, and 3 wide in behind them as well.
Yeah, sorry, Finney. That got a little tight there, but it seems like they've navigated through just fine.
Thomas through to 25th, past Alonso. Greg Mitchell and John Furness right alongside Ryan Hartz in the number 3, and Hartz charging forward right now. Look at the run he's going to have on the bottom, underneath the 2, and chase that 28 down the backstretch.
Yeah, trying to see if he can get past the number 2 machine, and then also try to work past the 28 of Furness. Furness with not as old tires. I think he's going to be happy and able to defend here. 3 trying to slot in between both those cars, but Mitchell still keeping that car pointed on the outside.
Yeah, keeping a fight to the 3 of Hartz, but Hart's going to have a good lane, or he's going to send it down into turn 1, try to find something there for the Furness machine running in 7th as Mitchell holds on to 9th for now.
On board with John Furness. Trying to move back forward here, but I don't know that he's got the car to do it. As we approach lap 100, 30 laps to go next time by, 16 minutes of racing left, and now at this point it's just shuffling after the pit stops and all the tire wear that comes with. Matthew Bell, Alex Weaver. This is for 11th place. And where has the 66 of Wineland gone? He's just consistently dropped down the order. Strategy just went in a little too deep on, I think, tonight.
Yeah, I mean, again, also that penalty, that speeding penalty didn't do him any favors. So he's back in 30th lap down. So he's been trying to recover from that after a lengthy amount of time on pit lane.
Well, Michael Muhammad still has yet to pit also. He's still running 6th.
Yeah, the 4 and the 9 went past Muhammad for 4th and 5th, and we might be seeing that Muhammad machine make a stop here within the next lap or 2, but still plenty of time left in the race as we're heading back to another battle on track. Brandon Bowie, that a handful tonight.
34th to 13th, and then similarly behind him, 41st to 16th, is Garrett Grant. And I think both these cars are still going to move forward with their pit strategy and should be near the top 10 by the end of this thing.
Yeah, we haven't really talked a lot with Alex Weaver in that same breath. He's moved up from 31st to 11th now, as we were just looking at him in that battle with Matthew Bell, who he's passed. And now looking at the 3 of Ryan Hartz coming off of turn 2. Trying to see if he can get past the 28 John Furness, holding strong at the moment.
Had to change lines mid-corner. That was dicey. And there goes Muhammad onto pit lane, as Hunter pointed out. And here comes Hartz to the bottom of Furness. This is for 6th.
Yeah, I think this should be easy work for the 3. 28 just doesn't have, it seems, enough pace at the moment to defend on that outside. But we'll try to cut back on the bottom and see if he can get a run on the back straightaway.
Going to be close here for Furness as they navigate their way into turn 3. Going to go a little bit higher, trying to get a good run on the corner exit to close back to the 3 of Hartz. Meanwhile, Tyrion and Kern, 4th and 5th, nose to nose on the track.
I think Tyrion's been a little quicker the last couple of laps, and perhaps that should be a little bit of a surprise. They're dead even on tire life, 15 laps for both of them.
Following him on the back straightaway, just trying to see where to go. Cameron Hearn. We've seen him do pretty good in the early parts though on the 4, falling off a little bit towards the end. We'll see what Tyrion is going to do here. Yeah, but both these guys 5 seconds in behind the leaders, Jake Nichols, Jurashek, and James Scioli.
Yeah, tight going into turn 1 right there with the other cars involved. Good for the 3 of Hartz, not so good for the 28 of Furness as he's got Brody Falliker to the inside.
25 to go next time by. And the gap between Scioli and Jurashek growing once again. The gap between Jurashek and Nichols is coming down. 0.3 quicker was Nichols last time by.
Yeah, Yurchuk's been struggling to get past the lap car that's the 86 in front of him. Eugenio Alonso, he's one lap down, and there goes the 12. A big dive to the inside to finally get rid of him. So he's been held up, and here comes Nichols with that charge.
Yeah, good run here for the 73 and Nichols, looking to get close enough to battle with the 12 of Euroshack for second, as they're both nearing 4 seconds now behind our race leader, James Scioli.
Oh, look at James Scioli. He's in a big mess at the moment. He's in a gaggle
Holy
car.
cow.
Look at this. He's trying to navigate 3 wide in behind him.
That is dicey. The 09 is Senesac in the middle of everything here. A lot of this is for position, too. What a mess.
Well, Scioli was able to get clear of them, so they'll be somewhat sorted out now. But Euroshack and Nichols are also going to be approaching this battle of, they're going to be approaching in their own battle with a bunch of these other drivers in their own battle. So that's probably not going to go well, particularly.
I'll say they're still not letting the 7 go. I believe that's Alex Bell that went by him. Some of these guys have fresher tires than the race leader, so they're going to want to try and move up. And like you said, this is all 4 position too, except for the 7 of Scioli, who just so happens to be in the middle of this now.
Yeah, that didn't work out so good for Scioli. Here's that second group approaching with Euroshack and Nichols is absolutely hounding the 12 now, with a long way to go still. About 22 laps left. I don't think Euroshack's quite got the pace, but the one thing he does have is how challenging it has been to pass tonight. So if he can just defend well, I don't think Nichols can make this pass.
I'm curious to see if he's going to be able to haul for 20 more laps. If Nichols doesn't try something. But, I mean, as far as tire advantage, Nichols got slightly fresher tires by just 1 lap, so not a huge advantage to work with. I think, really, Nichols, I think for him, the best thing just to kind of wait for lap traffic, see if it interferes, and might be able to use them as a pick to get around the 12.
3.5 seconds back from our race leader, James Scioli, as 73 and Nichols still pointing it to the 12 of Connor Euroshack, as these two slowly close within reach of the lap cars that James Scioli found himself in just a handful of laps ago.
Well, we're right on board with the number 73, Jake Nichols. Race fans, head over to simwrapmarket.com for custom iRacing paint scheme templates that are simple to use and keeps you more focused on the racetrack. And be sure to check out rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. Try the Loxahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, or South Beach Heat. Follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year Battle of the Area Cup Series and see which driver takes home the $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie in the point standings. This is getting very tight and dicey here. Will Nichols use the bumper? I don't know that he can muscle his way by the 12 without using a little bit of the hips of the 73 Supra.
I don't know if he's going to really resort to the bumper yet. I think he might wait maybe till the last few laps to do it. That will be pretty early on, because if you do it early,
here he
give your
goes.
opponent a chance to retaliate. But here he comes, has the opportunity in turn 1. Looks to the inside. It's going to be a side-by-side battle. The 12 trying to keep him buried on down. They're approaching some lap traffic up ahead, so they could potentially interfere depending on where they catch them in the corner. Here they go off. The 66 is going to be high, as Nichols also goes high as well. They both get slowed up.
There comes Ben Pierce on the bottom with fresher tires, going to make it 3 wide, as they are closing in on the 66 of Wyland. So this is going to be very tight heading into turn 1. Nichols going to take over the spot.
Whoa.
Here comes Euroshack on the bottom near the apron.
He hit him. He hit him in the back. I just don't know if it was enough to unseat the 73, and Nichols is going to be able to scamper away most likely, but there was contact heading down into turn 1.
I think that was the 12 showing his displeasure of that move. Was hoping that we at least get some sort of lane, but the 73 ran him below the apron.
That was very close. And then the bump heading into turn 1. I would say Jake Nichols wouldn't put the bumper to anyone. A couple of laps before, got the 12 loose, and there you see the move again. And bump heading into turn 1. Didn't do anything to the 73 though. He's scooting and boogieing away with second.
Yeah, and this is just the runaway at this point. I don't think there's anything more to be settled there, but you certainly, if you're Connor Euroshack, you wish that bump was a bit more effective. It wasn't, and you'd like a do-over, but he's not going to get a shot, I don't think.
No, I don't think so, unless Nichols runs into some issues up ahead, but he's already starting to pull a gap now, nearly half a second away from the 12. Looking at this battle, I believe that's Clay Montgomery, Shane Abbey is a battle for 16th place on track. And for Shane Abbey, it looked like he was having a solid top 10 day, but he's been dropping slowly backwards. Not been particularly strong on these longer runs. Might fall back to 17th here.
Yeah, not too shabby of a day for 84 Shane Abbey, though. Could have been a lot worse, though, as we've seen him have a handful of moments here today. Montgomery with a solid run up to 17th. Looking to make that one spot better. So he's still trying to navigate around Abbey down the backstretch.
Into turn 3. 84 not quite into the clutches of the 45 just yet, but Montgomery got a really nice run out of 4. Abbey has to lift, they touch.
Touch into the wall, and there will go Clayton Montgomery on the inside. He'll grab 16th away. I'm not sure the 84 has got enough tire left to really answer that. We'll try to look to the outside, but just can't quite compete with the 45.
Yeah, just got tight. Kept it up against the wall, didn't overcorrect, and then spin back across the road. That would have been a yellow. 14 laps to go, and it's going to be 13 this time by. James Skyley leads by 3.7 seconds over Jake Nichols. Then it's half a second back to Urashak, 5.7 back to Cameron Hearn, and then Shane Therian, half a second behind that.
Yeah, gap's pretty stable for most of the drivers in the top 5.
AT Pool on the outside of 3 wide.
Ooh.
Garrett Grant picking up spots in the middle of this.
Right, to be giving him some spots in the middle of this, can't quite. Gets bullied out by the 50 and the 69 as they got fresher tires trying to move their way up.
This could create a caution. The lap cars trying to get around the cars on the lead lap with newer tires on, as we saw that earlier, not too long ago with the 7 of Skyly caught in the middle of that. But Garrett Grant hoping that they can mix it up with the pull machine, because then he could possibly close in and pass him for a position on the track.
The yellow would change everything. Statistically, I don't think we're going to get one. The track surface is so grippy that we haven't seen a lot of sliding around, more so just tight conditions. You see the 50 getting the fence into 1. We haven't really seen that many drivers even close to crashing, to be honest. We had a couple scary moments, but nothing that was nearly disaster.
Approaching the last 10 laps of this race.
Whoa, okay, I spoke too soon. Steve Durham going for a slide. He's keeping us on our toes.
Yeah, I was going to say, every time I look at this one, he's loose off the corner somehow, and it looks like most drivers are tight, if anything.
Well, it keeps hitting the apron. That's helping the car rotate, but hurting it do everything else.
For position, Grant trying to clear pool. Hasn't quite done that yet. This is for 13th on the racetrack.
AT drove in there on the outside trying to maintain this spot. Does he have grip on the outside? We haven't seen a lot of drivers be able to do that in 3 and 4 very successfully. Still clinging to it, but Grant, I think, is going to get this down here in 1 and 2, unless JT does this, drives in hard on the outside.
It drives in hard, just trying to pinch the 5 in the middle of the corner, but just doesn't have the drive on the outside to keep it there. So 5 is going to clear off the exit and will secure that 13th place.
JT not going to give up without a fight just yet. Going to try and back off on the outside, diming it down to get a run on corner exit, although that did not work out for Poole. So Grant's going to try and drive off and look to catch up with Matthew Bell before this one's over with, although with 9 laps to go, I'm not sure how much ground he's going to make up within that time frame.
Eight laps to go and coming to 7. James Skyley still leads. And this is a wake-up call again to everybody here, Finney. And if these races go green and you give Skyley a decent starting spot, he is quickly asserting himself as the favorite again. And last year, quite frankly, it wasn't even close. Skyley just absolutely blitzed everybody, and he's already off to a pretty frantic start. If he can get this win, he's already got double the wins of the next best guy going into the playoffs.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's really, James Skyley is the man to be, and like you mentioned, he's just showing that he's, again, this year going to be the man to beat once more, dominating this race. No one quite really able to hold a candle. We saw attempts from Connor Yurshak trying to make a charge. James Kyle in the later, not James, sorry, Jake Nichols in the later going, trying to see if he can make a charge, but no one really quite able to catch that number 7.
Nichols has run similar lap times to the 7 of Skyly, although doesn't have the track position to do so. Still within 4 seconds for the 7 and the 73. See what the lap times are this time, but not a whole lot of drop off between the top 2, even top 3 really with Euroshek as well.
Yeah, you give him a restart on equal tires and you can see something different. I just don't think that you're going to get one at this point. Eugenio Alonso and Bronson Stafford back here fighting for 21st. That car on the inside is Danny Ware, who is down a couple of laps. It's behind Jordan Martin and then Brody Falliker, the 38 and 42. They've been around each other all day today, running 23rd and 24th, just a lap down.
Yeah, not ideal. Ideally, probably would like to be on the lane lap, but still duking it out here in the later goings. And Brody Falliker trying to just recover. I have to remember he spun out early on, was running around actually where he's running right now, on 24th, had a spin, and just trying to make up as much ground back under green, so he's gotten back up into 24th. Probably would have liked for a better day, though, especially for just a caution to help reset things. If you're half of the field at this point, would have probably liked the cautions.
I think everyone but the 7 of Skyly
Yeah.
wants a caution on the racetrack.
Delonte Ballard just slammed the wall out of 4.
I think Anna Sogak might have hit it too. There was some smoke up ahead.
This is a pretty big. Oh, he didn't hit it.
Casey Ukatis.
Yeah, Casey scraped it, or someone scraped it, and
Oh,
Delonte.
no, it was Anisogak.
Yeah, Anisogak rather scraped it, and then Delonte Ballard just got loose and looked like he had bounced off of it. Man, I would like the news stations, man, just getting wrong information and parroting it to you. Man. And then correcting our story and pretending we had it right the whole time.
Yeah, there you go.
3 laps to go, and there's Alex Bell, last driver on the lead lap, battling with Clayton Montgomery. And we have lapped up to 16th place, 17th place.
Man, not too surprising, considering the pace we're going at. Again, only 1 caution to slow us down this entire time as we come to 2 laps to go. With James Garley across the line, he's just got a couple lap cars up ahead. Doesn't even really need to pass at this point. He just kind of sitting behind these 2. Just got to make sure he doesn't get taken out in anyone else's shenanigans.
Once again, looked like a dominating performance for the 7 of Skyly. The 2 in front of him, Bell and Montgomery, continue to do battle. Hoping to keep it subsided for now, as Skyly's going to come over, take the white flag, and hope to come away with a clean race car, Kyle.
Mile and a half left to go for James Scioli. He's letting these guys race it out ahead of him and burning up some of the lead that he's got, even though last time he still ran 2/10 quicker than Jake Nichols. But James Scioli last season was the champion, 11 race wins to his name. Last week at Las Vegas was able to win there. And this week at Kentucky Speedway, there was 130 laps to lead. He will lead 120 of them. Here comes James Scioli out of turn 4. Checkered flag. James Scioli wins at Kentucky Speedway. And Jake Nichols, 2nd place. Connor Yurashak, 3rd in the number 12. Then Cameron Hearn, 4th. Darian, 5th. Hartz, 6th. They come across timing and scoring stripe.
Yeah, we're hearing also that Connor Yurashak, he actually almost crashed out of the race with coming to 2 to go. Went loose and flying on through the infield grass, was able to bring it back on the track and at least finish out in 3rd place, but almost disastrous for him in the last few laps.
Well, let's watch it. Let's go back and see what happened to Yurashak. If this was the
Right before, a little before this, on the front straightaway.
Here we go. Oh, yeah, got in the wall, and across the road he went.
Woo.
And kept the foot in it, so it never looked like he was going all that slow, to be honest.
And watch this right here. Lots of air.
Oh gosh, right in front of these group of cars, they're just trying to make it home.
Oh, man, that was a wild ride here.
Dukes of Hazzard action right here.
Oh, man, that'll be a fun interview.
I mean, hey, he's got Calusa Klein's landscaping on the hood. Did some landscaping right there.
Well, he missed
The fastest lawnmower in the world.
Yeah, only did one stripe and then gave up, though. James Scioli, first place in the number 7 Toyota. Jake Nichols in second in the number 73. Then Connor Urashak survives it, finishes third. Cameron Hearn fourth. Shane Therian in fifth. Then Hartz, Furness, Mitchell, Beckner, and Brandon Bowie from the tail of the field up to 10th place, Finian.
Yeah, I was going to say, a really solid jump for him from 35th to 10th, a great climb forward. Then you got Alex Weaver, another great climb forward for him in the 62, Matthew Bell. Garrett Grant also started from 41st up to 13th. Chris Rabel, Poole, Montgomery, Bell, Bryce Senizek, Shane Abbey, and Richard Thomas, your top 20.
And looking back at it, Brody Folliker had that moment coming off turn 4 and went down the front stretch. Comes through with a 23rd place run there. And looking through some guys who wish they had better runs. Ben Pierce had a moment in pit road, led him to a 29th place finish. Danny Ware 30th on track.
Down to the rest of the order. Here's some drivers that didn't have such good nights. Brad Slaughter Jr. obviously out with his issues. Jeremy Miller 37th with a crash on the opening lap. And to add to that, of course, the 33 David Weishart, short-lived night, only 3 laps before his car was retired. And Justin Munsell did get out there, but ended at 90 laps down. Let's talk to our top 3. Connor Urashak, third place tonight. Almost didn't finish the race, Connor. We didn't see it in the moment, but we were able to catch up to your wild slide there coming to 2 laps to go. But third place tonight just didn't quite have the pace to keep up with James. Take us through your evening and chasing the 7 and 73 on strategy.
Yeah, I just want to thank my sponsors, Calusa Pines, and everyone on board. But yeah, that was the tightest race car I think I've ever driven in my entire life. I mean, it was absolutely miserable the whole race, but yeah, I just had nothing for those front guys. I mean, I don't understand how they could drive it like that, but it was just a long day overall.
Yeah, long day here at Kentucky. Next week, though, we head to Atlanta, which used to mean it was fairly similar to this racetrack, but obviously it races a lot differently now. What's your plan heading into Atlanta, and how do you expect that race to go?
Man, I wish it was old Atlanta, but we'll probably have a good team plan and we'll try to work together and see if we can be there at the end, but I'm not sure. It's kind of a super speedway, so you never know what you're going to get.
Connor Urashak's third place tonight in the number 12 Calusa Pines Chevy. We'll see you next week at Atlanta.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
I put him not in the right channel. Whoops. Anyway, let's talk
He'll find his way home.
I'm sure he will. Jake Nichols in second in the number 73. I don't have a lot of Discord window right now. There we go. Jake Nichols in the 73 comes home in second place. Started fourth, ran second at the end, chasing the 7 once again, but we were able to eclipse the 12 this time and then put him far in the rear view. Very good night for you and your Toyota Supra.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun thanking the partners on here, just saying sponsor after sponsor, but the Matco Tools Toyota Supra, produced by 609 Motorsports and David Weishart Racing. Car drove great. I mean, it's just so tight. I mean, you have to try to drive it loose. It's loose for a few laps, but after that, it's just you kind of go straight. And I just got stuck behind Connor the whole race. I mean, James ran a great pace, anyways. I think even if I was ahead of Connor, it would have been just us two kind of nose to tail the whole time. I don't think either of us were really too far ahead of the other on pace. But once you move up, like we were running the bottom, I'm sure you guys saw short run in 3 and 4. And the moment we shot up the track to the middle, no other lane really works. So you just get stuck behind someone. And I was trying so hard. I wanted to offset on tires that last run, and I did by 1 lap on Connor. And I think that kind of made the difference. I could kind of just use up a little more than he could. And once we got past him, I mean, you guys saw we set sail. But I mean, the cars are fast here. David Weishart Racing. I'm glad to be a part of the team. I mean, 1 and 2. I'll take a 1 and 2 any day of the week, even if it's me second place every time. Just anything to help us in the team standings. That's goal number 1 for myself, and I'm sure our other teammates here. So at the end of the night, we're happy. Took 115 to get to second, but at least we got there. So we'll take that and move on to next week.
Jake Nichols second tonight in the number 73. Jake, thanks.
Thank you.
James Scioli, second win on the season and quickly racking them up like he did last season, I should say, James. Tonight, drivers complaining of a tight race car, but yours looked, I guess, well sorted as far as where you were able to place the car on the racetrack. You were able to lead over 100 laps and go home to victory lane 2 weeks in a row. So for you and your David Weishart Racing team, another 1-2. This is looking good.
Yeah, looking real good. Great way to start the season. Two tracks that I was pretty confident at Vegas. Didn't really know what to expect here, but after running through the field on Tuesday, I figured I had decent speed, and the win in this one was pretty much just down to qualifying first. The clean air in this car is just so big, and I know Jake dealt with that the whole time. I knew that he was faster than Connor. I could just tell by how close he was able to stay with him, but he was just never able to get around him, and that just really helped me build a buffer on the both of them, and I could go an extra lap on the pit stops and not have to worry. So that kind of protected me from a caution against those guys at least. And yeah, just qualifying up front's just so huge. If you can get track position in these races, it's massive, especially at tracks like this where it's a little bit tougher to pass. So just, yeah, the win for this one just came down to qualifying tonight.
Well, in seasons past, Atlanta might not have been such a wild card, but we head to a wild card track next week, a little bit more like plate racing. What's the plan there? You've got 2 wins on the season, so you're able to focus in a different place than I think others are, treating it as a win to get in sort of night. What's the plan there? Just go in and try to survive the night, or try to pick up and rack up another win for the playoffs?
I think it's just going to be just to try and rack up another win. Goal is to just qualify up front and see how many laps we can lead in that one, and see if we can be there at the end. It's going to be a tough race. There's going to be some handling that comes into play. If I remember from last year, even though it is a plate race, it gets pretty loose, or pretty tight on entry, pretty loose on exit. So it should be pretty good. We should be sliding around, especially if the track temp's pretty warm. So should be a fun one. And yeah, we'll just try and get up front and see if we can get another win, or at least push one of our DWR teammates to a win.
All right, James Scioli wins at Kentucky. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys. Just want to give a huge shout out to you for all that you guys do with the broadcast. Big shout out to the admin team as well for helping us out this week. Was pretty good for them. Fairly simple these last couple races, so nice to give them a little bit of a break. And then code Scioli, as always, $7 off at rickshotsauce.com. Get you some South Beach heat. And then big thanks to Daniel's Candles, Matco Tools, Butt Kicker, and Chris Sports Cards for being on the car, and we'll go get them next week.
All right, James. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Finney, and wrapping things up here from Kentucky Speedway. Clean and green, with the exception of that early accident. It was all just like Tuesday. Not a crash in sight. Tight race cars, but next week we're going to head into Atlanta Motor Speedway, where the chaos is going to ramp right back up again as drivers try to qualify themselves into the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, we're basically heading to a super speedway intermediate hybrid at Atlanta, so that's always put on a great show. We went to it last season, so can't wait to go back there next week for all 3 series. Can't wait to see what actually put on. But yeah, just props to everyone involved tonight to have only 1 caution the entire race. That's fantastic stuff, and it wasn't like they held back. They threw punches all night long.
Oh, they're going to be throwing more than punches next week at Atlanta. They're going to be throwing race cars, because they're capable of going up in the catch fence, Kyle. Over the next week, we'll have Cup cars, trucks, and Xfinity cars rolling through the higher banks of Atlanta, like you said, Finney, in the hybrid. It's as if Daytona and Texas had a ugly child, and you get the new reconfiguration of Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Yeah, it's going to be a wild one. Atlanta Motor Speedway next week. We're going to go pack racing for, I think, the 3rd time since Aria's joined us here on SimTV. We've gone there once each season. Should be a blast. It's always put on a good show, though, that's for sure. We're going to get to watch it again next week. Atlanta's triple header up next week. We'll see you there. Kyle Heyer, Hunter Suppy, Finney DeCuna on SimTV. We'll see you next time.